Is it-
Hmm. Good morning, our wonderful people. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the program. We are definitely happy to have you here with us. As usual, we keep reminding you guys that you are a stakeholder, you're part of this process, you're part of this movement. So don't be one that sits around, don't be a spectator that sits around and want other people to be doing the work. If we want freedom, we have to do the work. If you want more for our children, we have to do the work. If we want a sustainable future, we have to do the work. So don't leave it for God. Don't be praying 20 times a day thinking God is going to do it for you. Don't be an irresponsible adult that think you can be hiding in your wife's under the bed or wrapper and it will magically appear. No, we, the adults, need to engage the issues and come up with a superior argument, which we have on the table that can move us forward. So, welcome to the program. Please continue to help us to share and like and all those nice things that we need to do to allow others to have access to this information. Thank you so much. My name is Munachim Saga, and I am here in Houston, Texas.
And my name is Epi. I live in Lexington, Kentucky. Please, like my sister has said, help us to share, like. We'll play our video while we're sharing, just to keep you entertained or keep your mind focused. Not really entertained, like keep your mind focused on what we want to discuss. Because this is more of dissemination of information, the things that our people did not know before. And that's why we are not dancing. It's not because we cannot dance, but we are in a dire situation and we need information. So please help us to share and like, invite your friends. Thank you, and we'll join to share. Thanks.
What if I told you that the Vatican helped
Uh-oh, you want just replay. In the Vatican or manual the thing. Because this video cannot play. Okay. Let's
Really?
let's see what's going on here in the Vatican. Our people must hear the truth.
This is so funny. What do
Yeah.
they mean by that? What? Yeah, Facebook. It's not our video. We are playing it for to educate our people. That's all. So please allow it to play. Our people need to be informed. Education is important. It's just a tool for education. Oh my
That's funny.
goodness.
That's okay. I hope again. Hmm? When a mother wants something for their children, there's no place, there is no mountain too high for her to climb.
At all.
What if I told you that the Vatican helped Europe colonize the world, that it justified European colonialism in the name of spreading Christianity, that there are papal decrees that allowed European empires to take over entire countries? And for what? To allow colonizers to subjugate people, to take away their lands, wage war on their cultures, impose a self conceived notion of racial superiority over them. And all of this just because the colonizers claimed that they were the ones who discovered new lands. So they had a right to rule over those new lands. Now, the Vatican has come forward and apologized for what it did. It has apologized for helping the colonizers. Here's a report.
Have you heard something called the doctrine of discovery? It's Europe's version of finders, keepers. It's what European colonizers used to subjugate the world. The doctrine was cited by Europeans who discovered new lands, and the doctrine traces its roots back to the Vatican and to the Catholic Church. Now, the Church has apologized for helping colonizers in their conquests. On Thursday, the Vatican issued an unprecedented statement. It officially apologized for its historical role in justifying colonialism by European powers. The Vatican said, The Roman Catholic Church repudiates those concepts that fail to recognize the inherent human rights of indigenous peoples, including what has become known as the legal and political doctrine of discovery. It also declared that the doctrine is not part of the Christian's faith, but the Vatican is centuries late. The doctrine of discovery is a concept laid out in the so called papal bulls. What are these? These are usually official statements from the head of the Catholic Church. That would be the Pope. So, no less than the popes were involved in justifying European colonialism. Their decrees were used extensively in the conquest of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Africa, and the United States. The colonizers claimed that they had the approval of the church to have sovereignty, property, and commercial rights in lands they discovered. Here's an example. Papal decrees in the 15th century permitted Portugal to subjugate Muslims and the non Christians in Africa. That's not even the ugliest part of these decrees. The Vatican was quite explicit when it came to who Europe could colonize. It could only be non Christians. So, colonialism was essentially used as a tool by the Vatican to spread Christianity across the world. And the colonized countries paid a huge price. Take Canada, for instance. Between the 19th and the 20th centuries, more than 150,000 indigenous children were taken hostage in Canada. They were snatched away from their families and lodged against their will in the re education institutions. Here, they were subjected to unspeakable atrocities. They were physically assaulted and sexually abused. Many of them didn't survive. They were buried in mass graves that are still being discovered in Canada. Last year, Pope Francis visited Canada. He apologized to the indigenous people for what the Vatican put them through.
Hmm.
In 2015, too, the Pope apologized for the Catholic Church's action in Bolivia. He sought forgiveness not only for the offenses of the Church, but also for the crimes committed against the native people during the so called conquest of America. Just so you know, European colonism was a vast and often very violent project. The whole world, at some point or the other, has been under the control of a European power. Look at the French Empire. It ruled over territory greater than the size of the Europe itself. Then there was the British Empire, the most notorious of them all. And its peak was about 25% of the world population was a subject of the British Empire. Apologies are welcome and long overdue, but preparations will be the closest they'll come to making amends.
Thank you. No kidding. So, how is apology enough for destroying people for who they are, making wealth, amassing lots of wealth over the course of the years? So you just come out and apologize. I would love that opportunity though. I love the opportunity to go and steal from someone, destroy them for who they are, make so much money after 500 years. I said, oh, nah, I'm sorry.
Kill them, remove them, like destroy completely.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry for
yeah,
500 years of mismanagement.
yeah. So, by the way, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Wow. Wow. These people with some nerve.
Woo.
There's some nerve.
Mm.
Anyway, continue to help us to share and like. So we'll move on. It's insane. It is totally insane, but we have a plan, and that's why we're asking everybody to wake up. If
Yes.
not, people will mistreat you, misuse you, and then after 500 years, they will repudiate. And that will be good enough for them. All right. So our today's topic is the making of people's constitution, making of people's constitution. According to our brother Tony Nadi of Ninas, Africa revolts, overthrowing imposed constitutional arrangements to terminate new colonial structures in Africa, which is long overdue. So, as we witness the final and terminal phase of centuries of enslavement and colonization of Africa, the indigenous peoples of Africa have come to the sad realization that they are all headed towards complete extermination, except they wake up and intentionally be part of the jailbreak project that will finally liberate Africa from the yoke of bondage of colonialism. These people are not relenting. Our children met with them a year or two ago, told them that they are rather arrogant, with the way they're treating Africa, that we need to renegotiate this relationship. And of course, who is talking Africans? Why should we listen to them? The Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination is leading this task of sovereignty recovery and union reconfiguration in what can be described as the worst kind of neocolonialism project in Africa. We're referring to the Nigerian component. So today we will be looking as to why the American Constitution is the bedrock of American democracy. You can see we did that intentional, right? Because we had democracy before they came and destroy it and make it sound like we are savages, that we are running around in the forest and they showed up to rescue us. So we will look to see how their constitution is the bedrock. In fairness, their constitution is a strong one. And what we are doing here, again, is to move with superior argument. We will take what works, what makes sense, what will allow every part, one of our citizens to thrive, and we use those things to improve ourselves and move forward. We will also look to see why judiciary cannot be the last hope of a common man in Africa, especially in that place called Nigeria. It's amazing to me that people that do know that that level of corruption exists in Nigeria, and yet all their eyes was on justice. Which justice now? Are you guys part of the criminality that you don't know that you don't have justice? If you had justice, your mandate will not be swallowed by somebody else. So I guess the church, again, has a role to play in this, because we saw your pastors, they wake up and say, forget about in the past, so let's move to the forward. Forget about him before. After they encourage you guys to get your PVCs. Now they're telling you guys to forget the past. And we keep reminding you guys they are business partners. Everybody with a role on a play. You have the role of the church on this side. You have the role of entertainment. Then you have the role of the drug dealers. They keep drugging our people so they cannot think beyond their nose. They will lower their threshold of reactivation like nothing is working. So all of them have different components of role that they play in order to keep you down while they're benefiting. We are also going to look as to why democracy is a failed experiment across Africa. We know that they never gave us any any democracy. Like I said, we had it before. I have run into several articles that said how, especially the Igbos, how we had democracy before these evil people showed up and destroyed everything. It's not even like they destroyed it and went back and had a rethink and said, okay, let's fix this thing and, for the sake of humanity. No, they continued as if nothing happened. He says, Austin, welcome to the program, our brother Salami. We're definitely happy to have you here. We also have Ike Chukwu Osai. Good evening to you as well. It's actually good morning here. And we are going to play the video of the day. You can see what our brother Tony mentioned a few months ago. He's still echoing us of today. Like he says, exactly what is happening. He told you guys that in the more spirit will come and swallow your mandate. As long as you're running an election in this, under this fraudulent 1999 constitution, our people decided that they will keep our people in the church, encourage them to get their mandate. And then when he gets, the thing that drives me crazy is that then when he gets swallowed by someone, the same church didn't come out to make noise. The same church didn't come out to
fight.
They
are still brainwashing them now. They say, forget what is in the past. The other one that told them that Saul will come before David. And they will make it look as if God is speaking to them. Meanwhile, God is not speaking to them. They are just in the meeting, in their coven, where they're having meetings on what to do. Because we tell our people that these people are part of what is happening to you. Then he will come and say, Saul will come before David. And then after that, he will say, oh, by the way, let's forget what is in the past. Saul in the past. Even if Saul is staying 40 years. Don't you worry. Don't worry. Be happy. We'll be here entertaining you in our churches. Yes, brainwashing you and telling you to wait for your turn when you buy. Then you go to the other place and heaven will be waiting for you over there. While we enjoy our own heaven here.
Wickedness in the highest order. Wickedness.
God help.
Even our brother, so-called Peter Obi, then understands what the problem is. Instead of them to come out and say, hey, we've messed up, please, let's fix this and once and for all. They are still there pretending there is something for them to, oh, I forgot, he's playing a role.
Yes, they play, but that's what they do. Usually what they do is that they pick them, compromise them. If you check their history, there's somewhere, there must have been a compromise somewhere. So they begin to blackmail them. So it's only those compromised ones that they were allowed to emerge, to even be part of the political process, the so-called political process. It has a target so that they will continue to blackmail them and make them to do what they want them to do. But it's unfortunate because those
Heartbreaking.
people should say, please let my people go.
Heartbreaking to say
They are
the
not
least.
noble.
All right. Just like we said, God has given us what we need to get freedom. But if we decide to be running in circles, it's on us. We want to thank Ninas and the work that they're doing, all the men and women in the background pushing this agenda for the liberation of our people once and for all. And we pray that one of these days, after you guys run into evil forests and come out, or hunger takes some of you out, that the ones that are left will come to their senses and realize this is exactly what we need to do. This is a thought out process. We didn't put our hands in a pocket and bring it out, or Ekwe has one in her pocket, and then Demo has the other one in her pocket. No, this thing was strategically studied, set, and put in motion to get us where we are today. And until we come along with this information, so
And by the way, Facebook and YouTube, this video does not belong to us. It belongs to Nina's, and we are playing it to educate our people. It's for educational purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister, for saying that, because these people are very funny.
Recall that in the days before the election and the days shortly after the election, Ninas had advanced a proposition for transition. How do we move away from the wrong road we are traveling on now back to the reconstruction, the union reconstruction, union reconfiguration, and union renegotiation that needs to happen without further delay, except we want to forget the union in its entirety. By broadcasts titled Nigeria in Distress, the Ninas template for transition, and an earlier one titled Modalities for the Ninas transitioning, proposed by the Constitutional Force Majeure. The summary of those two broadcasts is simply the fact that somebody must now get on a broadcast on behalf of Nigeria to say that the Constitution of Nigeria, the unitary Constitution of Nigeria, can no longer carry the union beyond where it is and go into the reconstruction, renegotiation, reconfiguration that has to be done, union reconstruction, and everything required to do it already available in the Ninas Constitutional Force Majeure, the 5-point proposition of the Ninas Constitutional Force Majeure. The details are all start to finish available. In those two broadcasts, one before the election, the other after the election, Ninas had placed a plan on the table because it is for transitioning, for moving practical steps for getting to do what needs to be done now. It is one thing to make suggestions about, things that should happen. It's another to put on the table a plan for how to do it. Everybody's talking about restructuring. Oh, new government, come, restructure. We have been saying all that since 1999. We've been saying it even before 1999 when the campaign for sovereign conference was all over the place. Remember, there were people who took that campaign from the air and brought it down to what became Pronaco. I was in that team. We went away from the theory of sovereign conference to actually calling the nationalities together to hold, a meeting that was unfettered by government. 2005, 2006. How do we get rid of this 1999 constitution? We went to court. From the outcome of that meeting of the people, the sovereign constituent components of Nigeria, the nationalities, to the suits in 2007, challenging the basis of that constitution, in which we had plaintiffs that included Enohoro, Ojukwu, Soyinka, Sisi Ono, and a whole number of others. Bankole Oki, the senior advocate. Of course, the two men that were being held by Obasanjo for treason at the time, Asari Dokubo and Wazirike, they were all plaintiffs in that suit. And so we were able to set in motion something that could have, that provided the framework for winding down the operation of that constitution and getting into the transition, the CODESA style transition that will work out what will replace it in an orderly manner. Everybody was in agreement except the government of the time led by Obasanjo and those he coronated after him. And so we have again come to where the problems we were highlighting all the while, the dangers we were pointing from afar all the while, they have now come. We've had an election on the basis of a constitution that we should have jettisoned, and we're heading into a spin. We've been through it before. We saw how the one of 64, 65 ended in 66. We're again in that trajectory, in that cycle of going into an election in the midst of a disputed constitutional arrangement. Let the younger elements ask the elders who know, since history was removed, and the younger elements will say, oh, we do not know. Ask your fathers, ask your uncles, whether Nigeria did not proceed into election in the midst of a disputed constitution, and whether the union did not collapse, resulting in the inferno that consumed almost 5 million lives between 1966 and 1970. We are just about to repeat the same. And the characters, if you plot a map of Nigeria and you put on that map all of those who did what they did that became that problem, you will see that we're right back where we started. Mm-hmm. There's a Tinubu today that has gone to revive the alliance of 1967 since 2015. And that alliance of 1967 that came against the East have been causing havoc and dragging us to where we have now, we are face to face with that catastrophe. It's racing towards us, but many of us are not seeing it. All because we chose to go to election 2023 under the Constitution of 1999 at a time we should have been going into transition. And in dragging us in that direction, these candidates that are now crying about mandate, they seem to have rid themselves of the lessons of history. Looking at their age, one will only say it's a pity that they pretend not to know, because they know that there are problems that cannot be solved by elections. But for whatever reason, they chose to go with the enemy in dragging us towards election under the constitution that shouldn't have been the basis of union. And so, where we've reached now requires the representation. Let us present one more time what we need to do precisely from where things are now. The election has happened. It has got into controversy, the type that cannot be resolved peacefully, however you approach it, except you start with the truth, except you accept that we can't build on this foundation of a fraudulent constitution any further. anything you build on such a foundation will collapse on you. It's going to kill people that, like we saw before. It could be worse now. In fact, it's bound to be worse now because of the numbers that are awake. Before, people were not awake. Now people are awake to an agenda, an ethnic agenda. There's a Fulani agenda. There's a Caliphate agenda that is reinforced by the 1967 alliance that brings that Caliphate together with the renegade wing of the Southwest. And the Caliphate that is fighting in that formation of aligning with the renegade wing. Mark my words, we didn't say Yoruba, we say renegade wing of the Southwest. We saw Obasanjo, we saw Akintola before him. We are now seeing the one that went to bring Buhari in 2015. We saw all of what they did to chase away Jonathan from the Eastern Bloc. What was Jonathan's principal offense? Because they saw Jonathan as accommodating the Igbo in the scheme of things in the inner sanctuary of governance. That was Jonathan's principal offense. Oh, chief of army staff, chief minister, what do they minister for coordination of economy, coordinating minister for the economy, which is like a prime minister, secretary to government, Pius. That was Jonathan's principal offense, for which the alliance of 1967, Caliphate and renegade wing of Southwest put fire everywhere, lied everywhere across the globe, and then hounded Jonathan out of office. In saying, it is my turn, let those who do not understand now understand. Tinubu was not talking about 6 geopolitical zones, because all the argument was based on that ignorance of thinking that he was talking about 6 geopolitical zones. No, Tinubu was talking about that alliance of the Caliphate and the renegade wing of the Southwest. You will do your turn, I will do my turn. On this occasion, it's my turn. He wasn't talking about rotation among 6 geopolitical zones. And so it is within the context of that reality that we are coming back to tell all of those who are trapped in this failed Lugadian experiment of 1914 called Nigeria at this time. Because when the rain comes, it will not spare anybody. When the fire comes, it will not spare any part. We've already seen aspects of it. Nigeria is now the global capital for poverty. Nigeria is now the worst killing field. Even countries at war are not losing the number of people that are being killed. Just 3 days ago, Nasarawa, 38 people. The other day, even now, people are still running helter-skelter in southern Kaduna because they have been overrun. The Plateau has not gone any better. Countries that are at war are not losing the number of people that are being killed in Nigeria. And so, whichever way you look at it, look at the corruption we're talking about. What have we achieved by clinging onto this constitution to the extent that another election has now happened, against the council not to, from NINAS. And people are running their mouth about who stole whose mandate. The mandate that was stolen, the first mandate that was stolen, so that we can make things clear, is the mandate of the alliance we built for freedom of the trapped constituent components. We spent 20 years to build an alliance of the South and Middle Belt to free all of the peoples of the South and Middle Belt from the bondage, the Caliphate bondage that has that has framed itself as unitary Nigeria. But some of our dishonest elders, and I know it's a heavy word to use. I use that word advisedly. Some of our dishonest elders found a way to present that alliance as one for seeking power. South and Middle Belt Leadership Forum and all kinds of other conjectures depicting coming together of the South and Middle Belt. But for the purpose of seeking political power as president of Nigeria. They found, again, dishonest church leaders. And I mean that one even more seriously. Dishonest church leaders whom we had gone to share what the problem was with, but who decided to hijack that mandate of freedom to now go to, sacrifice it on the altar of power. They want power as president instead of freedom for their people. That's how we got to going into election. Of course, they found sufficient numbers of ill-informed and ignorant young people who do not know that the constitutional arrangement was the main problem and not the question of leadership, for which reason they rallied around Peter Obi to provide a different kind of leadership. Of course, rallied by people like Pat Utomi, who was telling them that it was all about leadership. And we saw when Peter Obi came, knowing the truth, but came to tell them that the constitution is not the problem. It is leadership I'm going to provide. And then citing animal farm type of statistics all over the place. We have to speak these difficult truths to let us know that we have a mandate that was stolen to drag us to election, to preserve.
Please continue to help us hit the like button. Please continue to help us hit the like button so that people can see this video. Thank you.
The constitution imposed by the enemy, so that those who are pursuing after that power will get to government house by swearing to defend and uphold the constitution that enslaved their own people. Every attempt to get them to see that there was no road in where they were going got rebuffed. Here we are. So when they talk about stolen mandate, to us, in this fight that is going on about who will win, both of them are like two robbery gangs fighting over what was taken from us. And our interest is in recovering that thing that was taken from us. And therefore, the mandate they are talking about is already a stolen property. The fact that they want to convert it in a manner they can use it, that is political power, does not remove anything from the substantive charge of a mandate that was taken. And so we will now have to invite, for the purpose of the transition we are talking about, the transition that we must now go to, instead of proceeding with outcome of election and coronating somebody to come and continue to govern with the constitution we reject. That transition, we now expressly invite the candidates. Both candidates, Bola Tinubu and Peter Obi, must now surrender their so-called mandates and reinvest same into the union reconstruction imperative, the transitioning to rework the constitutional basis of Nigeria. We invite Peter Obi to reinvest, to surrender and reinvest that mandate that is now in controversy back into the liberation of the people. What do we mean? He has to, the same way he announced that constitution was not the problem, Peter Obi has to, if he is on the side of the people that have been tormented under this constitution, he has to come publicly and say to the hearing of the whole world that the Constitution of Nigeria, the unitary Constitution of Nigeria as imposed, is the problem that needs to be solved.
Yep. The unitary Constitution of Nigeria is the problem that needs to be solved. And not even those pretending to be the man that only wear one watch can tell us otherwise. And the more they waste time, the more our people dies. You know, they sit around and pretend like they are godly. They go and kiss the hands of Pope and wear big old cross on their necks, and our people are dying, and you don't have the humanity in you to say enough of this 419, enough of this fraud. Let's do good by our people. Let's do well by our people. Our people, we have suffered enough. We have suffered enough. You know, you have your houses in overseas, and you're going back and forth, and whenever you come back, you bring your little British, I don't know, candy and think it's okay. We need more for our people. So today on our program, we're going to look at the American Constitution. And one of the reasons why we put that up is just for us to see, because a lot of people want to, you know, refer to American this, American that, American this. I don't know about the other people, we the Igbos, we have democracy now, even in our common family now. Where I'm raising my kids, I allow my kids to come on Thursday night, we meet, and I allow them to tell us what we're doing wrong. We tell them what they're doing wrong, and then we hash it out and decide how we're going to move forward during the next week. And it has worked perfectly. And of course, it didn't come from hell. It came from the background where I come from. I've always been allowed to voice myself and be heard and be acknowledged, you know, and be affirmed. And some people think everything came from Obodo Yibo. So we'll show you guys the Obodo Yibo style. We are not saying that it's not good. It was good and it was working for them. So the same token, we need to come up with things that will be good for our people and will work for our people, right? African problems will solve with African solutions, because not everything will work for us. We don't want our boys coming around and thinking that they need to wear lipstick. It's not that serious. Yeah, there's a Vaseline.
It's not that serious. Chelunu.
We don't want that
kind. Let's take it easy. It's not that serious. It's not that style. Oh my God.
All right. And just to reaffirm what Brother Tony mentioned in the video, you know, he's basically again talking about the 5-point agenda that we typically mention at the end of the show for people to see the steps are already there. We just need to take it. So like he said, we are asking Peter Obi if he still has God, fear of God left in him. We are asking Jagaban if he's still human, because I don't know if he's turning into an alien, to please release that so-called mandate that you guys have so that we can rework our relationship and give people life that they deserve. Why must all of this be about you guys? Why can't it be about the people?
Please, all right. The tag, the pinned comment is blocking the PowerPoint. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Let me see how to untag that.
As our sister Folashade. Thank you, ma. Yes, anyone who knows the history of Christianity will understand what we're talking about. Thank you, ma. Please continue to help us to share and hit the like buttons, because this information must get out to our people. They need to hear it. You're part of the team. We're working together. It's not one man's job. It's not one woman's job. Collectively, all the indigenous peoples all over Nigeria, all over Africa must arise and do this job. The foundation is already set. We are in the final phase.
Right, so absolutely. Go ahead. So our 5-point agenda that he was referring to.
You're saying, sorry. Oh, you're going through the PowerPoint agenda.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
Are you seeing it?
Yes, I can see it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me actually put it in slide mode. All right. So he mentioned the 5-point agenda, and I just wanted to run that, you know, for those of us that are new on the show. Yes. Again, we've already encouraged our viewers to take a picture of this, you know, If anybody is not addressing this, then we are not going anywhere. These are the 5-point agenda that we are insisting that P2B and those of you walking around waiting for your swollen mandates to come out, I guess they will vomit it out for you guys to know that this is what we need to do to move forward so that you can begin to live life like a human being. So the first one is an acknowledgement of grave constitutional grievances raised in union dispute as declared. And the second one is an express commitment to decommission the imposed 1999 unitary constitution, and express commission, the third one, an express commitment to shelve further national election under the 1999 constitution in order to initiate immediate transitioning process for fresh constitutional protocols. And then the fourth one is an invitation to the constituent peoples of Nigeria to work out the modalities for transitioning arrangement. And the last but not least is the announcement of a two-band, two-stage transitioning process, which shall in the first stage feature multi-regional referendums by which constituent components shall recommit to or opt out of the Nigerian Union. And in the second part, these two terms of union as may be detected by the outcome of the referendums. For the first time, Africans are proposing something that will not shed blood, that will not cause people to die, that will not cause mayhem, that these things will be done so that we can live life abundantly. They did it to us. They went to Africa and balkanized it. They didn't kill each other, and everybody took their cake and move on. And this is what we are trying to do for our people without shedding any further blood. And I don't know why the so-called pastors is not making sense to them. The spiritual leaders is not making sense to them. Haven't you guys sucked enough blood? Haven't you guys drank enough blood of our people? Can we do the right thing for the sake of our children? All right, so today we are going to look at the making of people's constitutions. And like we said, we do have constitution. It starts even with the family, right? Because if you're in a family where you're not allowed to talk because you're the wife that is in the toilet, that is relegated to the toilet, then you're in trouble. Where we come from, our parents,
The wife that is in the other room.
the one that is in the other room. I remember waking up in the morning and my mother will praise me as if like, and I'm there looking like I don't want to talk. And
Yes.
that her praise alone, just that affirmation alone will just wake me up. So we come from a place where we were acknowledged, we were affirmed until this Umwekwensu came and destroyed everything and make it sound like they are the one that is whipping out the right thing.
No.
And let's go through it. All right. Of course, we cannot move forward without reminding our people where we live. You do live in the Osman Dan Fodio state, and they will ruthlessly prevent a change of power. They will ruthlessly use the minorities of the North as a willing tools and the South as a conquered territory. And they will ruthlessly will never allow you to rule over yourself or have a control over your future. What a demonic assertion from hell, from pits of hell. And people are allowing this to go on. They are chasing goose everywhere. When somebody makes such a declaration publicly, he wasn't in his toilet and he was caught on a video. He came out where his British masters were and sat there and made a public pronouncement of how they're going to deal with you guys. And everybody, a blanket. Ninas has come to give us life and life abundantly. Until you decide to choose it, you'll be hanging in the forest or wilderness when it comes to Bible for another 400 years. So our objective today is to look at the American Constitution as the bedrock of American democracy. That was intentional. American democracy, because we don't want this notion that Africa don't know democracy. Africa is this, Africa is this. So we are intentional when we use that word. An overview of American constitutional making process, definition of constitution and examples, and what is common to all colonial system and structure in Africa. The four fundamental lies upon which Nigerian Union is currently erected and operated, and that's why we are not going forward. We make one step forward and then we go 500 steps backward. And then we will look at judiciary and democracy, how it has failed in Nigeria. They will swallow your mandate and tell you to come back next time, come back next time, come back next time. You'll be doing next time, another 4 years will come by. And then we'll definitely shine spotlight on the wisdom of our ancestors. And by the way, we want to use this opportunity to encourage others. If you want to talk about your ancestors, please let us know. The only reason why we are talking about Igbo ancestors is because that's the only one we know. We don't know the other ones very well. So we don't want to come and project what we don't know. So if you are, into it and you want to come at the end of the show like we're doing, we'll give you a spot to come and tell us about your ancestors, because I know as long as they are brown ancestors, I know they are better than the ancestors of these other people that we know of. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, this is for all of us. So looking at the American Constitution as the bedrock of America, we know that it's often called the supreme law of the land. They use it as a foundation for which American democracy and society is built. It guides the nation through triumphs and challenges. The constitutional making, of course, went through a process, and that's the process we are lamenting every day, that our own did not go through a process. Some witch and wizard, or witches and wizard, got together, went to a hotel room, wrote a paper together, even put in there and said, don't let anyone see this. That's part of their constitutional writing. Left everything in there. And a president got sworn in without anybody seeing what the constitution looked like. They didn't even, and my dear, we have never seen, this is, talk about 419, is the biggest 419 that was bestowed upon us. And that's why we're going through this process, so that for those of you that are into America, you can see that they did not go to a hotel room. They didn't go through a military decree. They didn't go and hide in a hotel room somewhere and write us a constitution that did not include the constituents. We know that the process is a testament to the framers' foresight and adaptability, which has endured for over centuries, so many centuries. It also provides a framework for the government that balances individual rights with the common good, because that's the issue that we have. Unless if you want Dangote or if you want Jagaban, that's the only way you get justice. If you're an orphan, even if you take a phone and you are accused, you'll be stoned to death immediately. Have you ever seen any rich man that has happened to? Have you seen all these politicians that we know for sure they are stealing our money and nothing has happened to them? So when we talk about the individual rights with common good, and when it was made, it was ratified by the diversified component members, the nations of America. So people didn't go on their own and start calling people and pretending like they are part of the process. It went through a ratification.
Yes. Those that say that Nigeria has constitution, ask them who ratified it.
I know who ratified it, Sister Ekwi. The prostitute that was in the room with them.
Okay. I forgot. Yes. Oh my goodness.
He also went through a remarkable historical journey, which has shaped what US looks like today, and is the model for constitutional development worldwide. The reason why we like this also includes justice, equity, and fairness, even though it's not extended to all Americans. But at least that's the premise for which it is formed. So let's look at an overview of the American.
The claim is the model, right? Because
right.
We know that we'll keep what's the rest, because they claim that is the model, but we know what the model is.
We know what the model is.
Africa. Yes.
Yeah. When it applies to everyone, not when it applies to some part of the society.
Exactly. So it cannot be. We're just bringing to our people what they have, so that you see that we need to do our thing and give ourselves what we need to live the type of life we want. It is our right. It is the people's right. You don't need to beg for it. Please.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. We don't need to beg for it. Please continue to help us to like and click that share button. The like button as we go. So looking at the overview of American constitutional making process, let's start off with the revolutionary background. We know that the American constitutional making process was profoundly influenced by American Revolution of 1975 to 1978. So they didn't wake up one day and see, oh yeah, let's go and do this thing. Like, oh, let me speak English. When things continue to happen to you the way it's happening to us, it's only an animal that will not look for an alternative that is sustainable. They were dissatisfied with British colonial rules, which began with their desire, which caused their desire for self-governance, that eventually led to Declaration of Independence in 1776, with the 1976, in 1776. Then they went on with the Declaration of Independence in that 1776 as well, which articulate the fundamental principles of individual rights and government by consent. So it was not done. Nobody stole it. Nobody went to frame it by themselves. Nobody is parading it around as if it's a rule of law and the rule of the land, when nobody was consulted. Nobody was part of the decision making. And then in 1777, it was ratified by all 13 states then, because we know they have more than that now. You know, the Continental Congress, during this time, the Continental Congress adopted the Articles of Confederation, which served as a nation first constitution. When it's time, it became clear that the Articles of Confederation was deficient, meaning that it did not provide a strong government, which caused them to have a lot of economic instability and state dispute, like we're having in Nigeria right now with the union dispute. They went further to do something that is right for the constituents, for the people. So they went on with the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia in 1787, which is, again, things are not working. We're going one step backwards. We turn around is 20 steps backward. What do we need to do to ensure equity, fairness, and justice amongst everybody in the land so that we can move forward? That's what people are asking. That's what they're asking, knowing that, you know, if you're Trump and you commit crime, you go and take a mugshot. If you are a widow and you commit crime, you go and take a mugshot. So that so during this convention, they went on to have it because it was a response to the shortcomings of the Articles of Confederation. There was a delegate from each state that came together to draft a new constitution. And during this time, figures like George Washington, James Madison, Benjamin Franklin that we see in their dollar, they played a pivotal role in the process because they were representing someone from each state. And then they went through debate and compromise, you know. So it's just the same way human beings work. When I meet with my children on a weekly basis, they tell me things that I'm doing wrong. I tell them things that I'm doing right. It's okay. If you do it like this, you do it like this, then we'll come to a place where you're not mad anymore, I'm not mad, and we can move in unison. So it went through debate and compromise. The Constitutional Convention was marked by intense debates and compromises, which looked at key issues such as balance of power between the federal and the state governments. They also look at the structure of legislative branch, as well as the representation of states in Congress, right? You don't want for the northern part to have enough local government to overshadow the rest of the territory. So basically, the nation belongs to them, or the country belongs to them. Is their estate, is their Osman Danfodio estate. So even if all of you convene in their legislative parlor, you will not get anything done because their number alone has swallowed all of you guys. Talk about representation of states in Congress. Then the Great Compromise resulted in bicameral legislature, which led to two chambers. There was proportional representation in the House of Representatives and equal representation in the Senate. So based on when we talk about proportion, based on the number of people that are there, they can decide, okay, this is the equity that you get on that side, or the number of representation you can get in the House of Representatives. And then when it comes to Senate part of it, there's an equal representation, which we don't have. And that's what we keep telling our people, you know, when they say sham. It has never been, it was never made by the people. It was never for the people. It was never with the people. Everything is against people, but only for those, the puppet leader and those that they are working for, because we know they are working for someone. That's why it's okay for them to call what we have a democracy, or should we call it democracy? They know that nothing is moving forward, but they will tell us, oh, the giant of Africa, the most populous nation, Gaga, this and that. And yet, we don't have anything to show for it. The only thing that we show for it is our obedience to our slave masters. So that whenever there is a little mess here and there or disagreement, Blair will fly into the north and redirect his people and then fly back out because they own the space. And then they went on to have ratification by all the 13 states, like we mentioned earlier. After the Constitution was drafted, of course, he faced a lot of challenges. And then the ratification convention was held in each state to debate and vote on whether to adopt the new Constitution. Speaking about American standard. So that we here one man, it's not for one man to do in his military degree. It's not for a couple of people to do. So that when we all agree on it, if anything comes of it, then because we are part of it. We supported it. Everybody's interest will be represented, be you small or big or large or whatever, you will be represented. Right now, you don't have that. That's why the oil in Jigawa belongs in the oil in Bayelsa. We belong in Jigawa, and you're not getting anything. Here in Texas, we pay very low price for gas because we have a lot of gas now, our land here, compared to in an area where there is no gas. You guys are not benefiting anything. Instead, the gas will cost double the price where you guys are. The Federalists who supported the Constitution engaged in a series of persuasive essays called the Federalist Papers. So here, it's not something you do with prostitutes around. It's not something you do in a hotel room. Serious thinking and deliberation, which we know this military decree they didn't even go half. And once it's ratified by all the states, now it can be established as the supreme law of the land. So when they see that things are not working, they make amendments called Bill of Rights, which is good because we want our constitution to serve us. We don't want to be serving the Constitution. Meaning, if we say now, oh, it's okay for the tree to be dancing on the road, and we realize each time the tree dances on the road, it kills someone, we're supposed to go back and say, tree, you can't dance on the road anymore. Maybe if you can dance, maybe in the middle of the night when people are sleeping. Making an amendment so that what we put out there can work for us, not for us to die under the Constitution. So the Bill of Rights was set in motion to address concerns about individual liberties. The first Congress proposed a series of amendments known as Bill of Rights. The 10th Amendment was ratified in 1791, safeguarded fundamental rights such as freedom of speech, religion, due process. That's when you get arrested, nobody should do it. Of course, if you're brown, this thing may not work for you. If you're brown, they can take you out before the due process. Therefore, those that they made it for, when they get arrested, you don't even have to say anything. If you cannot afford a lawyer will be given to you and this and that, and you're innocent. Even if your hand is caught red-handed while committing the crime, you're innocent until a jury of your peers finds you guilty. So what this allows is that nobody can make any accusation. They need to do an investigation. Somebody can wake up and say, oh, my pastor told me you're a witch, and then you get taken out. Or somebody can wake up and, oh, you stole a phone, and then you get stoned. No, we need to see how did you get that phone in your hand first? And then there's expansion and amendments. Over the years, the Constitution was amended 27 times to reflect the changing needs and values, like I mentioned earlier, because we want the Constitution to serve our purpose. These amendments have expanded civil rights, granted voting rights, and adjusted the mechanics of the federal government. When we look at the judicial interpretation, the Supreme Court, through different landmarks, have played a crucial role. Not the one that will swallow your mandate. The lower courts will tell you, people will come in there, be sleeping, while they are presenting a swallowed mandate. All your people there are sleeping, and all this thing, they will wake up and say, yeah, will see you at the Supreme Court. Which Supreme Court are they seeing you at? You see that you have been punked. What you have is not a democracy. I mean, what you have is not a constitution. You don't have a democracy either. What you have is a sham. You've been punked. They gave you a sham called demon and crazy combined together. That's what you have. That's where everything is going haywire. Nothing works. They will wake up, go to court. People are pretending as if they have justice in Nigeria. Let me go. Judicial justice, eyes on justice. Which justice do you have eyes on? The only place they have eyes on is to take you out because you may be very stupid. We'll continue. Go ahead, my sister.
Thank you so much for breaking down this, because sometimes when we're telling our people how things are done and that human beings are able to do these things, it will be as if we are describing dream to them. We are able to do these things. The only thing that is holding us is you not doing your part. It's not even the criminals. It's not even those ones there, because they are fewer in number. Their percentage is too little. That's why we say, please help us to share this video to your people groups. You all have people groups, your church, your alumni, all those. Share this to them as you are watching, because we so believe that once our people are properly informed, this work will be walkover. So somebody said, what is constitution? Is constitution just the book, just the paper? No. It's the arrangement, the structure, the components, the thing that the arrangement says, oh, Igbo people are here, Yoruba people are there, which other people are there, mix you people, shovel you, put you as the way they want, like the way that you are politically minority and you're not able to do anything meaningful for yourself and your people. You're not even able to elect your own leaders because of the way you are structured. That is constitution. So when you finish, you now write it down in book. So when people say, oh, Nigeria has constitution, say, when did you meet? How did you meet? When? Because you cannot have constitution while you are sleeping. You will be part of it. You saw how my sister broke everything down. Everybody was aware that, okay, we are doing constitution. You went through a period of time and people were making input. Do it like this. This is what we want. This is how we want it. So the problem is not diversity. The problem is not, it's not that we are ethnic, we are tribal, we are national, we are kingdom. That is not the problem. The problem is injustice. The people, all the peoples in that geographical space, we are not carried along. They were not part of it. They never met. They never discussed. So it's not their product. It was imposed on them. And if we want peace, we will begin the process of actual constitution. So constitution is union arrangements, union structure, union component. Then you now print it before you print it. The printing of it is the last one. Every other thing will be done. So I want to give us some examples of the constitution that we've had, because the constitution you have is what decides the type of government you have and what is happening to the people, your people. When you see your people suffering, go to the constitution that is producing that suffering. So, one, apartheid constitution. The Boer imposed segregation order of 1910 on South Africa. Some of you know what happened under apartheid. If you don't know, go and read history. Google, find out, begin to see. You see videos, see things. Another example is the colonial decree of December 1913, British order in council, by which Nigerian Union was imposed on the indigenous peoples. So the Ijaw people, Efik, Tiv, Yoruba, Igbo were sleeping one day. Some man came from somewhere and say, you are now Nigeria. And then they put amalgamation of January 1, 1914. Our people didn't even know. They heard the news. That's how it happened. Anybody that tells you otherwise is a liar. This is how it happened. Then we have the Colonial Pact of France, imposing the union arrangements they call constitution on francophone countries, over 25 countries. Over 25 countries. How many do you have in Africa that 25 are under France alone?
A big cake.
Countries of West and Central Africa, they shackled them and put them inside this thing called the Colonial Pact of France. Another one example is Decree number 24, military decree of May 25th, 1999, aka Nigerian Constitution. It was enacted and imposed on Nigeria by Abdulsalam Abubakar. It wasn't a component. Down the road, we're going to tell you some lies in this book of Lucifer, so you understand what is happening to you. So this is a picture of the Franco, because here we do show and tell. We'll get the information for you together. Everywhere you see that blue, it's France. They own that one. The entire Africa, like over 50% of Africa. See the tiny France.
Chimo.
This one. And people are waking up and sleeping and walking up and down, and it is okay for them. People are not on the roof shouting. No be juju be that.
Serious juju.
So, from here, we're going to begin to tell you what is common to all the colonial systems and structures, all those arrangements in Africa. They have two things in common, and we'll break it down for you. One, the first part is that the union arrangements creates a master-servant union. That union arrangement, that structure that they imposed, whether from France or Britain or whatever, that thing they imposed, the essence of it is to create a master-servant union in that country. So they were imposed against the will of the indigenous peoples. In Anibo, they hung one of the grandfather of Colonel Ojukwu at Nkonewi to make others not to even imagine to counter them. So they imposed the things against the indigenous peoples, hijacked and confiscated their sovereignties, making the indigenous people slaves in their own homeland. You are living in your land, but you have been enslaved.
Right.
The land you own doesn't belong to you anymore. The resources that you have do not belong to you anymore. The things that your ancestors handed over to you are not yours anymore because somebody somewhere passed a decree. So there can never be any democracy under these colonial structures and arrangements. That's why democracy is a failed experiment across Africa, everywhere in Africa. That's what you're seeing. Anybody that is telling you Africans that they are not like that, they are criminals, they are stealing, that's the reason. Is their arrangement, the colonial arrangement imposed on the borders, on the people. That is what is causing it. Second part of what they did, it's that whether France or Britain, these colonial bandits, yes, our sister Shola yesterday, he said it's not colonial masters, it's colonial bandits. So please, we are using now colonial bandits. That's why you saw that when they started bringing those terrorists, they called them bandits. So they are used to it. So they are colonial bandits. They always need local agents to enforce their fraudulent structures and documents.
Your brothers and sisters that look just like you.
Exactly. Your brothers and sisters that look just like you. So in proxy. So that when you look around and say, oh, who is doing this to me? Who you will see is your brother and your sister. And then we say, can't you see? Your brother, those are leading Africa. And some people that are very naive, they say, do we have foreigners leading us in Nigeria? Is it not our own brothers and sisters that are leading us? Are we not our leaders? Did they not come from us? Please stop being ignorant, I beg you. Whether you're a medical doctor, engineer, lawyer, professor, whatever you're professing, please stop being ignorant. Look around and wake up. It's morning. So they have local agents, and we're going to use Nigeria as an example for you. What happened in Nigeria happened all over Africa and other places that they colonized, even the Caribbean, everywhere. Is the same template that they use. If you sit down, it will make sense to you. Go and do your own investigation. And Facebook, you too need to go and do investigation to be part of this project.
Okay.
You cannot talking about your community standard when people are dying. We are here to deliver people and give them better life. So you should be part of this project, Facebook and YouTube. The local agents in Nigeria, Fulani Caliphate. Because when we mention Fulani, we are not talking about the poor,
hungry,
the hungry ones. We know that the ones they give guns to go and kill people, but they are victims also because they are trapped by these their colonial, their oligarchs,
colonial bandits.
their chief bandits, their ogas, the so-called ones that went to Harvard and
Yale and everywhere.
Yeah, with the colonial masters. When they come back, they enslave their people. If not, how will you be happy to see your own kinsmen inside forests carrying cows and drinking cow urine? And that's what they came into this life to do. And you call yourself that you love your people?
Criminals everywhere.
By the time we finish this project, all these Fulani oligarchs, I don't know if there will be any space for you in Africa, because what you have done is abomination. Enslaving even your own people and using them to destroy other people. Who does it? So in Nigeria, the chief local agent is the Fulani Caliphate. So that people that say they're doing freedom, you will know where to channel your grievance to, where to channel whatever you're doing to. And stop wasting our time. We need to finish up. Because anytime there's injustice, the people that suffer most are mothers and children. We women are the ones that suffer from your nonsense. So that's why we're not playing. That's why we come here and call you names. Because our children are dying. You don't know what it takes to carry a child for 9 months and then go into labor room, go between life and death to produce children. And then because you are daft, you allow them to be killed, and you think we will come here to laugh with you. Facebook, we are not laughing. YouTube, we are not laughing. Leave our pages to go around so that people will get information. We need to change the world. Enough of this. So these Fulani Caliphates are non-indigenous oligarchs. They are in Nigeria to control things and execute these policies for these colonial bandits. That's their job.
Yep.
That's why the only policy they were allowed to go is the one approved by the colonial bandits. Of course, they're not working alone. They're working with the local politicians, the indigenous people. Yes, your brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and all those people dancing around and calling themselves members of political parties, whether APC, Labour, or PDP, or whatever. All of them are together. They are indigenous oligarchs. They are willing tools and Judas goats, sabotaging the effort of the indigenous people, that their own brothers, their own people. We have them in Yoruba land. We have them in Igbo land. We have them in Ijaw land. We have them everywhere. They are your neighbors. They are your neighbors.
Nonsense.
You need to begin to speak to them. You need to tell them to stop. They are not aliens. They are in your neighborhood. They are the ones, they give them money and they will come to pose for you on 180 Laura. Where did they make the money that you cannot make? Why can't they show you to make the whole money too? Of course, the third one, judiciary. You just saw what happened. These ones are here to deny the people justice and make them believe that something is going on or that there's a process in place. Yes, we go to high courts. Yes, we go to Supreme Courts. Yes, we go to whatever courts. And yes, they will carry that their wig, that old woman's head.
A wig. Thinking they're gonna get wisdom with Udele wig.
Yes, with Udele wig. And the idea, Uzwakoma is there sleeping. The people that will speak for your justice, stop wasting your time, my people. Wake up. Wake up. Of course, the fourth one, the religious leaders, all of them. Church leaders, Muslim leaders, mosques, traditional leaders, all of them are together in this. Their job is simple: brainwash and deceive the people. I tell people, if you're a Christian, if you call yourself a Christian, if you're a Muslim, take your book and read. You see that Quran, read it by yourself. You see Bible, read it by yourself. If you must be a Christian, if you're not a Christian, okay. If you must be a Christian, I keep saying it, is criminality for you to call yourself a Christian and you're not reading the Bible that they're using to brainwash you, so that you read it and understand it by yourself and begin to instruct the person that is instructing you. Because you're bringing your children into a very bad situation. You need to read it so that when they come deceiving you, because that's what they do. They manipulate scriptures, they turn it upside down. But because you are not learned, you're not educated in scriptures, you refuse to read it and know what is inside it. That's why they're succeeding. If not, you would have known what is right. You see, like me now, somebody will come and enslave me with Bible. That's not possible now. I will lay my hands on you and you will fall under anointing. Imagine. So that is the job of the religious leader. These are local agents, so the colonial bandits. Of course, the almighty social influencers. Yes, Ndena Boyke, the social media, everywhere they go. Their own is to distract the people. Playing one music. Unlike the people like Fela, when he sings, if you don't have sense, you will have sense, because he's using his music as a tool
for education,
educate the people and inform them. We have what's this reggae musician?
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley. All these people were prophets.
He was singing to your brothers. Instead of them to get sent, they begin to wear that hair.
They were gyrating.
Yes, it's so like the code. Hey, the one goof.
Imagine that's the only thing they could take from Bob Marley. Somebody that was taking what he was taking because what he was saying was paining him. Needed something to knock him off. That's the only reason he was taking what he was taking. The pain was too much. He couldn't bear it. That's why I see some of these people that are addicted to one thing or the other, because when they see the pain, they cannot handle it.
And then the people they are singing for out of commission.
Join them in the dysfunctionality. Can you imagine? This devil is very bad. So the social influencers, they are here to distract the people with their stories of baby mama, divorce today, undivorce tomorrow, divorce tomorrow. Yes, we are married today. No, we are not marrying again. Oh, yes, I fell in love. No, I fell out of love. Distractions. Drama. Big brother, small brother. Big sister, small sister. Keeping you awake. When you come from the church that kept you awake for night vigil, when you are praying to Ekwensu, then the big brother will capture you. You continue to be awake. Immorality everywhere. What do they have in mind to distract you? Of course, we have the security officers. We're talking about local agents in Nigeria that the colonial bandits used to execute their work. These are trained military officers and security officers trained by the colonial bandits in their own country. They prepare them and train them. When they come down, behaving, the only place they have power is over their people. They are there to enforce and defend the fraudulent constitution.
By all means necessary.
By all means necessary. And other colonial establishments. You find out that in these colonial bandits in their countries, their police, they do not bear arms. They don't carry weapons. If you go to France, you go to Britain, they are there speaking English to their people. Excuse me, sir, can you step out of the car? Excuse me, sir. Step inside the car. So when they come to my land, boy, want to destroy my people. That is their own type of policing.
Colonial bandits, indeed.
Yes.
In glory.
So we have told you the colonial bandits, what they're doing, it's, it is planned, and that's why we need our people to be informed. So we look at the 4 foundational lies upon which Nigerian Union is currently erected and operated. First, you find them in the preamble of that 1999 Constitution. Pick up the 1999 Constitution, please. Look at the first page. As you just look at the preamble, you will see it. The first one, it says, "We the peoples." No, it's not true. It is not the constituent components of Nigerian nationalities that did the Constitution. Is a lie. So say, is a lie. Anywhere you see these lies, you say, go and put it inside, say, is a lie. Take pencil, take marker, and write it. Get the Constitution, Nigerian Constitution, get marker and be writing. When you say, "We the people," you say, it is a lie that we the people. The second one is, of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. No, Nigeria is not federation. Nigeria as today is unitary Nigeria. It's not federating anything. So you go and put it, say it is a lie. Nigeria is not a federation. Number 3, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in unity and harmony as one indivisible and indissoluble nation. Say
that part is copy and paste from American Constitution.
Yes, now it's a lie. Go and write, it is a lie by the corner. Because we never made that decision. The constituent components of Nigeria, nationalities of Nigeria did not make that decision. The truth is that Britain, 1914, formed Nigeria. The military, British Nigeria trained military. 1979 imposed that constitution. The 1999 is to reinforce it. That's what they did. That's the truth. So it's not you, and you know it's not you. Ask your uncles and your father what they did, whether they did. They were not part of it. Number 4, do hereby make, enact, and give to ourselves the following constitution. Put there, it is a lie. It is a lie. We did not make, we did not enact, we did not put it, put is a lie. Because it's a lie. The entire content of that 1999 constitution, we're going to have a show, hopefully by next week, that will break down the content. These lies, will break it down for you. So that
lies.
Yes, to break it down for you. So we have not agreed, we did not meet, we did not approve, we did not ratify, we did not write the things inside the 1999 Constitution. It's not possible for me as an Igbo woman to say, take all my gas to Europe so that I'll stay in darkness. It's not possible now. My people, it's not possible. So they were entirely imposed, all wholesome, not in everything, imposed on the people by the military. So those that call themselves former members of NEDECO, so they say, yes, we are NEDECO. We removed military and brought democracy. What democracy did you bring? The mission is not complete. How can you have democracy when what is the people are being governed by military constitution and still military structure, colonial structure? That is no democracy. Please, your job is not finished. Join what Ninas is doing so that we'll finish this work. We have not finished it. So what do you do when judiciary and democracy fails? Because in Nigeria, you can see that judiciary has failed, democracy has failed. It's not even there in the first instance. So people say, what next? What next? Simple. Overthrow the imposed fraudulent colonial union arrangements. Overthrow it. So we can recover the hijacked sovereignty of the people. It's when you have done that, then we can start politics. If you have not done that, anything you're doing, you're fooling around. And you know what? Your time to be here is limited. They are coming to sweep all of you out. Somebody will say, how? Okay, there are two ways all over the world. Coup d'etat by patriots. That's the indigenous part of it. Because what they come is that when they have military, they put their own people inside. However, some of the indigenous peoples are also inside that place. So they are the ones that when they do coup, they don't kill anyone and they work for the people. But when you see a coup by the colonial masters, it will be bloody. They will want to kill people. You understand? So, like you had what happened in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, Sudan, and all those francophone is going wrong. So another option is popular mass revolts, like we have. You've heard of Arab Spring, like in North Africa, countries like Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, and all that. So these are the things that people have been doing. But in our own case in Nigeria, the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, is leading this task. So we are not telling military to come and start doing the abracadabra. No, just go and stay one corner. NINAS, their template is already on the table. That's what my sister read initially, and then we'll play the video for you. This is the template. That's why I say, please share this information to our people, because where we are now is mobilization, where people are being mobilized to understand what needs to be done. You don't need to kill anyone. The land belongs to you. The resources are yours. So why will Yoruba kill Igbo kill Hausa? No need for that. We are here to do the needful, and NINAS is leading the task. By the way, self-determination, self-defense, armed self-defense is also part of self-determination. So for those that say, oh, NINAS, we want to use force, you don't understand the structure. The structure of NINAS and the template is robust. It's all encompassing. NINA's template is the only way to win the colonial bandits from kleptomania. What is kleptomania? Irresistible urge to steal. Pam, pam, pam. Your hand will be doing, stealing. 500 years, you are still stealing. Yes, you have not stopped. It's a disease. So it's time for the indigenous people to cure the colonial bandits of this dangerous disease that is destroying them. We need to cure them. We need to win them of it.
Okay.
Yes. And enthrone true democracy in Nigeria and Africa. And then peace will reign in the world. We want global peace. And we are able, Africans, we are able to bring global peace. We are able to do it. So that's why where we are now in NINA's project is transition. Everybody is saying transition for union reconfiguration. Everything. That all the scrabble things that they balkanize, we need to reconstruct it. Like a building that is badly built, is tilted like this, is about to collapse and kill people. What you do is not going to restructure. What you do is to bring it down, reconfigure, reconstruct from beginning, from the foundation, because the foundation is false, is bad. So we are starting from down. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. We are going to proceed with the spotlight on our ancestors, wonderful ancestors. Like we say, we are part of our ancestors. We are part of their DNA. The apple did not fall far from the tree. We are our ancestors. So welcome to today's topic, the burial rites in Igbo tradition.
Thank you so much. Burial rites in Igbo tradition. Life is a journey, which even death does not end or terminate in Igbo culture. That is what we believe. That's our worldview. Death is the beginning of another phase of life journey and existence. We move from one phase to the other. That's why in the original Igbo culture, an Igbo man, we don't fear death, especially when you live out all the full life. Now our lives are cut short because we are doing so many things, and there's so much evil in the land. Before, we will live long. Like when you read the Bible, you see Methuselah, Adam, all these ones living that long. Igbo people, we are living long. And then, so when we talk of burial ceremonies are held to honor the dead and ensure an honorable place for them in the spirit world. Yes, as in Igbo, we do believe, like we said, is transition. We are moving from this world to the next one. I told you that time that as Igbos, we believe in reincarnation, So I think we've done it in one of our shows. So the spirit of the dead lingers around until proper burial rites are performed. So when you have not buried your dead person properly,
Keeping them in a place for 1 year so you can finish building your mansion.
only 1 year, 10 years, self. Some of them have turned to tuber of yam. Like, you look at them, they look like tubers of yam.
Yeah.
The spirit,
Allowing strangers to touch the body of your loved ones.
it's terrible. The spirits of the dead will linger around, and that's why you see a lot of evil going on in Igbo land. So the types of burial rites that we'll give to a dead person, a dead Igbo person, depends on certain criteria. The age of the dead person, the age at which the person died, is it young or old? Then the gender of the dead person, male or female. Type of death, there's what we call good death, bad death. When an old man or woman, like you grow old and then you do what you call ikepe, that means you hand on even your four and give them your oral will, and this instruct them on what to do, instruct your children, instruct your family on what to do. Death in Igbo land doesn't come on us suddenly. We prepare for it. Your father, your mother will call you, okay, I'm about to be on this journey. Look, this is what you do. This is what you should. I've told you a story about my mother-in-law's father, how he knew the time, he knew the day, he knew the time. He wore his white cloth, laid on the bed, and then he told them, okay, they've come, we're going. Like this you read inside Bible. So then there are some deaths that are abominable. We don't want that early death, or the one that from some diseases, or some people that did something that they shouldn't have done, So, and there's a way it's handled in Igbo culture. Then marriage status of the dead, married or single, that would also say what will be done during your burial. Then the social status and titles of the dead person held in the society, Eze, Nze, Ozo, and all that, So all those things we'll run through. So the burial rites, we want to compare the tradition, what it used to be, and some new practices. In fact, some of them are even abominable, like my sister has mentioned one of them, abominable practices in our land. So in our culture, there's something we say, "Nwanne na wozu aru," meaning it's only the family members that prepare the dead person for burial. Only the family members. They come in, immediate family, come in, clean him or her, prepare him for this journey, because like we said, death is journey. So like life is journey, death is also journey. So you're beginning that journey. So they prepare you for that journey. They come in, bathe the dead person, prepare the dead person for this journey. We don't allow strangers to do it in our original culture. But today, mortuary is new. We carry our loved ones, keep them in one cold room like ice fish and turkey. In some places,
which cold room? Are you in Venezuela? Maybe they don't have cold.
It's not even cold.
They put that chemical in them to make all hackers
they put formalin and dry them up like a stockfish. If you walk into some of the mortuaries, when you see people there, you think you're looking at tubers of yam. You're like,
I know.
What is this? And they put them there so that they will go and build their house first. So the house that you didn't build when your loved one was alive, so that the loved one would be inside the house and live in a good house. Your father, your mother that should enjoy a good environment in old age, you will not build. When they die, you can't keep them in mortuary and begin to build. And you think that the spirit will bless you. Some will keep it there waiting for their children on exile, because all the Igbos are on exile. Yes, you're on exile. You think you're living in US? No, you are forced. You are on exile, economic exile. That's where you are. You're on exile. You're not living in US because you want to live in US. Stop all those guys people are doing on social media. You're on exile. So embrace the truth. So they will, when their loved ones die, they will go and be waiting, keep them in fridge and wait for those ones, when they can have time from work and everything to come. Allowing strangers to desecrate the dead, and even cutting some of their body parts for money rituals. No wonder we have so many angry
No
spirits.
wonder my dad is saying nobody should even take him there. Like he said, don't ever take him there. When he died, we buried him within 24 hours, we buried him. And this was recently.
Imagine. And my mom has mentioned that to me as well. So please stop what you're doing. We are tired of having wandering spirits in Igbo land, angry everywhere because of the mortuaries that are full of our people. Please go and do mass burial for them and let them have their peace. They need rest. Please. This is not even a joke. We need to begin to cleanse the land. The youths in the land, begin this campaign, Operation Empty Mortuaries. Go there and find out where they kept us. We'll find their names and find what the village they came from so that they will be buried. Communities, we bury them. We have lands where they will be buried. We have a place where we don't wait for their children that went on exile to come before they are buried. They need to be honored. They need to be honored. Let it begin. That's part of the freedom. Those that are looking for what to do, assignment to do. In Igbo land, we need to begin to honor our dead. Go and look for them where they kept them. Find out their names and the villages they came from so that we begin these plans. In our Igbo culture, only close family members see and bid their dead farewell. This one that are doing public exhibition of dead is new.
My mother said,
please don't shake me when I'm dead though. I beg, people should not shake me inside. What I say, mom, you're here. So our dead people, our loved ones, you not put them like you're putting animal in museum. Everybody to go and be peeping at the monkey that is inside museum, inside cage. It will see the mouth, see the face. Some people will even snap and put on social media, showing us where they are in a vulnerable state. It's not time to put them up for exhibition. It's for close family members to come in. It's a solemn time. Some will come and tell them things like because it's a spiritual thing. If like maybe they suffered on their earth, they will come and speak to them and say, your next life, your life is going to be better. You will be improved. This. They will speak to their spirit. Their spirit will calm down and then they will move on this journey. It's a beautiful thing we have in Igbo culture. And of course, in ancient time, we use biodegradable mats. We don't use all these caskets and of gold and silver and everything that you're putting inside ground that will not decay, destroying the environment. We use just simple mats, simple, so everybody could afford it. Of course, another thing is family and community members contribute for burial. They bring food items. Some people bring bitter leaf. All the bitter leaf, someone will go and say, all the bitter leaf for bitter leaf soup. I will wash it, I will bring it. Some will bring ede, some will bring oil, some bring everything. We don't leave the burden for one person to carry. The immediate family and the clan, they come together and bury their loved ones. It's not the one that people are selling lands before they want to get money to bury the dead. Abomination. Aru. If you sell land to bury the dead, where will the living live? That is abomination. We are allowing the poor people to suffer in our land. That's why there's so much hatred, so much criminality. This is not what we're supposed to be doing. In ancient time, we used black cloths to mourn as a sign of sorrow and pain. Iruju. It's not fashion parade or uniform competition. The one that are doing business in the name of burial. These things are new and strange.
Very strange indeed.
When your people die, you go and import clothes. It's time for business. Fashion parade. This group will wear this color. This group will wear this color. Yes, which one is finer? Which one is burial? The loss of a loved one. A loved one is about to begin in a journey of no return. It's a solemn time. It's not time for fashion parade. Stop doing all this. Stop all this abomination in our land. As Umuada, we are saying what we're saying, and we have the right to say what we're saying. Stop what you're doing. Stop discriminating our land. In ancient time, kinsmen and women are the ones that bury the dead. Umuada no monna.
Not church. You're
to
not
show the
waiting for
truth.
priest that is going to Vatican
No,
for his summer vacation before
no,
he will put you on the list.
no. Because the church is making money from bereaved families in name of burial. You have to pay for mass so that they will do service and sing song and bring you from purgatory and send into heaven. No, these are abominations. You don't bury our dead for us. We bury our loved ones. Don't know where you're coming with your occultic powers. And when some of these occultic priests come, they will make our dead to miss the road. They won't even know say where they're going. They'll be seeing darkness in their journey because you brought one occultist priest to come and lead your loved one on this journey. We do it by ourselves. The Umuna and Umada, when they are done talking to you, telling you how your next life, especially if you die young, they will be crying and say, why did you do this? Why did you allow this to do? This will not happen to you again. And they'll say it will never happen to you again. If you come back to life, you're going to enjoy, you're going to do that. This way you suffered in this life is not going to be like that. They will be talking to you because it's a solemn time. And then when they finish, they send you peacefully on your journey. You see the person smiling and going. Or some of the books I read, all this near-death experience. When I read near-death experience in America, they always talk of something good. But in the Nigeria and the Africa, upon all the churches, when they have near-death experience, they always see hellfire. Why would you see hellfire?
Why would you say hellfire? When you left what your ancestors believe in to become somebody else. They don't know who you are.
Yes.
They don't know who you are.
You see hellfire now. They will direct you to hellfire. We don't do Thanksgiving for the death of our loved ones. No. No one thanks God for the dead one that died. No. So church Thanksgiving and burial, it all is just business. Church business. Fraud. Business. So please. Another point is, and is important. Sorry, we're taking time to break this thing down, but it will soon finish. Another point is the blood of Igbo animals are what we use in Igbo land for sacrifice and atonement. Please, the next slide, an atonement, be it during burial or during marriage. So the killing of cursed Fulani cow is new. It's new. That's not, we used to use local animals, Ewibo, Efibo, but we don't even use Efi most of the time because you have to do it. The size of the animal is according to the family capacity. It's not this one that every poor Dick and Harry want to kill cow. No, that wasn't our practice then. And then there's something you call Osanu. This Osanu, it's part of that. That's why we tell you that it's not just that you're killing an animal to get meat to give to people. It's deeper than that. It's a spiritual thing. So that's why it's not this biggest size of cow or something. That's not what it's all about. Because everything that we do in our culture, there is a purpose, there's a reason. So the Osanu, the Umunna know which one is part of the Osanu. They are specific part of the animal. This one, we go to where the dead person, the mother, that's Ikunne, the dead person, whether male or female, that must go there to say that a child, their son or their daughter, is no more. Right. So it goes to them. You see, that's why we're interwoven and everything. If you do all these things, you've understood that things are done in a particular way. There's one we call again Ibuna Ozunwada. That means taking the woman. This is for women only, married women. I could told you that marriage is not because they are purchasing, it's not catch and carry business. No, it's a relationship. So you remember when we did marriage, we told you there's this little she-goat that they will give the woman on her traditional wedding. Mm-hmm. So she will take it to her husband's house. When she dies, a big she-goat is taken back to her family. The meaning of that is symbolic. That little she-goat she came with represents her. Now she's dead. That big one is assumed that the sheep has grown big. That's what I would say. We are not saying that our people died. They are moving on a journey. So that's living goats, big she-goat. Even if that small one has died, because of course, over how many years that she lived? Maybe the woman lived 100 years. The original small one would have died.
Yeah,
Then
the
you have to
descendant of that goat, yes.
exactly. So you have to replace a big one to her family where she came from. So you are taking it there, and now what it means that you are returning their daughter in their family. You do that after burial. She will be buried in her husband's home where she got married. However, there's a symbolic return. It's like exchange. It's beautiful. Look into the meaning of so many of these things is amazing. So that goat, that's what is signifying. That the blood, because we believe so much in blood. So that is the blood of that goat is going back to her family. So she wasn't taken away completely. So that's why marriage in Igbo culture is an ongoing relationship. It's not a cash and carry business. It's not a sale delivered business. No, Igbo women are not slaves that you're selling and purchasing them. No, it's a process. So Jesus said in Mark 12:17, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. Please, our culture, let's return to our culture. It does not disturb Christianity. You can be a Christian and still do what you are supposed to do. In the time past, they led some of us astray because they told us that everything that we're doing in our culture was demonic and evil. No, no. These things were very spiritual and very powerful. So please give to Caesar what is Caesar and give to God what is God. That's what Jesus said. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Our brother, dear Rossi, what about if the goat dies?
That's what we said. You replace,
Right.
yeah, definitely. It's not
Can
that
be
original
replaced.
one.
It doesn't
That's what
have
I'm
to be
saying.
that initial one. Yes.
Yeah,
It
it's
has to be that
symbolic.
initial
It shows that, okay, you didn't sell, the girl was not
Right.
sold into slavery.
one.
She
Right.
only went, women in Igbo land are like ambassadors. So they went as an ambassador to represent their family in this new family to help them build their home. However, you must return something at the end to
Significant.
signify, yes, it's significant to say this is what has happened. And when you're going to tell them that their daughter is dead, you won't walk in and stroll and tell them their daughter is dead. If not, they will deal with you. You will go first in First John, tell them your daughter is sick, even when she's dead. Because if you dare tell them that their daughter is dead, they'll say, so you killed her. When did she become sick that she now died? So you go first. In a very similar, you have these processes to go and announce, to tell them she's sick. You go back. They come back. I say, okay, sorry. She's now dead.
Right.
What do we do?
Man, don't you love your ancestors? Don't you
Yeah.
just love them? Dear, keep asking questions. So when she goes home with the first goat, of course she's going to get a male goat that will impregnate the goat so that they can have more and more and more, hopefully to have a descendant of that goat. And let's say for some reason nature happened and both of them that is replaced. So it's just a beautiful thing. We love our ancestors that put so many things in place for us to live a wonderful life, and we left it to pursue Umwekwensu. That's why when you have a near-death experience, you see them there and they point you to hellfire.
Hellfire.
When you abandoned your own ancestors.
Mhm.
It's only when you believe in them that they will welcome you. So it makes sense, right? Because the other people, the white people, believe in their ancestors, and we don't. We believe in their own ancestors. So why would we be seeing a
You see darkness now. You see darkness and hellfire.
Yeah.
Got nobody to lead you in the next journey.
Thank you so much for this wonderful information. Please help us to share this information. And if any of you, like we said, want to come and profile your ancestors, please come on. We are here to allow you to do so. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week. Sister Epi, thank you so much. You're just making me be bouncing. Now, this is my ancestor thing, man. Jesus, help me. It's just too much. Every day we learn more and more. So bye. We'll see you guys next.
Bye. Love you all.